been bleeding ages since I've played with me Rover. I went to see an engine wizzo last week, and he said that the supercharger I put on ain't worth shit because it's off of a too small a capacity engine, and he reckons it'll work a little bit, but then as soon as it gets hot it'll just lose power. So I'm gonna fuck it off, and I told him that I got that one, and he said, yeah, put that on it. So I will, but it's going to be a real pain in the ass. I've already ripped off the plenum and unbolted all this bit here and took the trumpets out because you don't need the trumpets anymore because it'll be pushing air in quite considerably. But one thing is going to happen is I'm going to have a bit of a bulge in the bonnet now, I reckon. So that's going to be fun, isn't it? Bugger. Didn't really want a power bulge. So the plan is to, come off you bastard. I'm going to machine off about 20mm off of the bottom of there, I think. I hope. Just to lower it down a little bit. And then I've got the old plenum over by Euro. Walk this way, please. And I reckon if I cut the bottom of that off and then get a plate, get a bit of aluminium to weld to that, that'll give me a little bit of a gapo to glue that supercharger on. I'm not really sure how it used to go on. I think that it might have gone on the side of the, it's off a jag, so I think it used to bolt to the side on those, but I'm gonna have to bolt it, hang on a minute. I'm gonna have to bolt it on with that bit. I think that's the blowy side. So I'll have to get a plate to go onto there, and that'll fix onto the engine. Then I've got to make an inlet for it there, and then get a new throttle body for it off of something, because that one's all on that casting. So I suppose the first thing I better do is get rid of this lump of dog shit. Probably stick it on trade bin instead of I can sell it on, because it works. I need to take that pulley back off there, because I put that on there off the Jag one, and I can reuse that. And it's now going to work totally different because I've got a big intercooler down there, so I've got to suss out how I can still use that to get cold air in, but because it's supercharged bolted straight on the inlet, I'm going to have to suck in cold air and not cool it after the supercharger, which should still work. I don't know, I'll have to ask the engine geezer, he'll tell me, innit? So I've just taken the belt off by doing that, slacking that bastard off, and I'll get my serpentine belt off, I think. Will it come off through there? That's that off. I should be able to pull the supercharger off. Molds. So I've got one of my fanny moulds off, what I made, and I took the pulley off, and I've put the pulley back on this one, but I've turned it around the other way, give me a little bit more length to move the supercharger back a little bit, which centralises it on that inlet manifold a bit better, and I won't have such a big bit sticking out the front, hopefully. But I don't know, he showed me. There's me bits I made way back, which are now redundant. Bugger. Anyway, probably be able to reuse them and cobble something else out for the new bits, isn't it? Which would be marvellous. There's the bracket I made to mount that super duper charger to. And I've just put the belt on, roughly, and I reckon by the time I slacken off the tensioner, that belt might fit again, innit? Or it might not. I don't know. Anyway, it's not a biggie, I'll get a longer one, can't I? But I've put the pulley back on here, off the other one, and I've flipped it round. It used to run back here. So I flipped it around, it gives me just a little bit more sticky outiness. So let's move the supercharger back a touch. I'm just going to go about there by eyeball, I reckon. Need a fucking cup of tea. Luckily, the kettle's just boiled. Marvellous. Right, more thinking about this bleeding thing. What I need is a fly cutter. I've got a milling machine over here, but I don't think I've got a fly cutter. I must have go and make one or something. It's one of them 2-in-1s, does two things really shit. It drills holes really badly and it fucking mills badly. But it's better than what I had before, which was fuck all. So that's that phalange, and I'm just going to drill them holes down further because I'm going to machine off probably 15 mil off of here, because I've sussed out this cuttery thing here, and that old drill bit. If I cut that drill bit off, I might be able to make a bit of a tool up for a fly cutter and put that in there, and then cut it off. Be posh as, innit? So that's what I'm going to do. And shit. Right. Just drilled them out so as it keeps the location when I've chopped a bit off. I've just made a thingo, so hopefully that'll work. I don't know. Soon see, innit? Give that a bit of a clean up so I don't get freaking stuck. Take that one out. Bob's your eye. Modified that thing and made a cutter, and it seems to be cutter eating a little bit. It's noisy as fuck, but I'll crack on. Getting a couple of mil cut at a time. Look at that. Marvellous. Take freaking over. Take about, I guess, 15, 20 mil off of that, so it's just touches the fuel pipe thing out. And then I'm gonna obviously lose a bit of height again, because I've got to put another bit on there to bolt that too, isn't it? But sticks up about that far. I might have a little bit of a bulge in the bonnet, isn't it? Never mind, could be worse. So I've had a bit of a rethink. So now I've cut 15 mil off of there, and that's made that sit down lovely and low now. It's a lot lower than it was. And the bonnet's shut anyway, so it's giving me more room there. But if I put a supercharger on it, it sticks up too far. I have a stupid scoop in the bonnet, I don't want that. So I'm looking back at where I had the other one mounted. I've just cut all the big bits of crap off the back of this supercharger, and it sort of fits in there. If I was to make some sort of bracket hold it, maybe weld on something on here, a block on here to go down to this mount, and then there's a couple of bolt holes on the head at the back. I could put a big bracket on there and bring something around to bolt on with that inlet manifold when it goes on, and that might hold it in it. And then I could, this gives me just about enough room to make a big manifold up there for the outlet, and then go back through the intercooler, which means it'll work proper then, which would be much better, I think, isn't it, and shit? So that's one position it could go in, and it gives me a real good, I'll just tighten that up like that. It gives me a real good wrap round there. There's not much room down there though, but I can still make that, fit. Just means the outlet would be at the bottom down there, because there's more gap, and I can stretch the pipe out so it's still the same volume, I reckon. And then I can pick up down the others, because that's on a totally wiggle aboutable, so I can put it there. I could probably get that quite easily. So that's one way it could go, I reckon. And the back's quite accessible, so I'll build that manifold on there and then build a bracket into it and pick up off them two bolt holes on the cylinder head down there to support the back of the super duper charger. Or I could just leave the wood in there and cut cable ties, see how it goes, isn't it? You know. And that's another position it could probably go in. That gives me shit tons of room under there to make the fanny mould, which can go straight through down there somewhere, hopefully, like that. And then I've got shit tons of room there, just making that rear bracket be a bit more of a prick. But I'm sure we can do it. It might just have to be a bit heavy duty and probably made out of steel, because I haven't got any aluminum, and I've not really done much aluminum welding either, so it'd probably come out like dog shit. So it'd be metal. I mean, the car weighs shit tons anyway, so I can't see a little bit of metal on there ain't gonna make too much difference, is it? Isn't it? But that'll look all right. I just need to clean all these up and make it look nice, and clean all that up, round it off, make it all posh again. But I reckon that'll work, and the bonnet shuts. What we'll do, I'll do that, yeah. All right, that'll work. So maybe that's the way I'm gonna go for. So I'm gonna aim for getting that in there like that. So total waste of time cutting all the other shit off, but never mind. Yes. I like it. Or it's like a pole, this, or that position, which gives me good wrap on the pulley still. It's right down out of the way. I can get that easy and make a manifold up, and I can come up across here, across the top, and round and back down there. It should all be able to tuck in out of the way. Be a bit of wiggly pipe, but that'll be all right. And then the back is still easy to do. Maybe if yeah, it's just going to be bracket off of that back still. Not really going to change much, so who knows. And that I've got loads of clearance already on the body. Hopefully that shouldn't rattle about in there. And I've got room for the plugs as well, which is nice. And I'll just have to make that flange to suit. Sort of wedge it up and then come up at the top somehow. Yes, decisions. I like that position. I think it's good. All tucked away. Neat as. What does it look like from this side? Wouldn't even notice in there, could you? Innit? So maybe that, more than here. And that would be easy for that, because if I can get that, I could get the front of that shaft aluminium welded, get someone who can really do a nice job and make a decent bracket that come off that swivel I've already got there. And I'll be able to just cut the bolts in and just the back. So, yes, bit of thinking to do, innit? So my next plan is to get rid of those bits of web, because we don't need it on this, because I'm going to support it there. So that'll be redundant, and then it'll be supported again at the back off of there somewhere. So I'll get the grinder and I'll remove that shit and make it all look pretty. Then I've got this bit of 2.5mm thick tube exhaust. I'll slice that down the middle, and that'll sit half and half there, and I can slot that into it, make it all strong as, and that should be the fronty mounty bit sort of done, isn't it? Right, so that's them bits gonded. So now I'll just measure this bit of tube over there and cut it to length and slot it down and see if we can make up a cradle for this, which is nice, isn't it? Well, there's my bit of tube. Now what I'm going to do is just cut a little block of wood, which is 30mm, is that 62 or something pipe, and then I should use that little block of wood like that. Where are we? And just draw my line. Let's see if this pen works. Like that. I'll do that on the other side, then I should get a nice straight cut and shit, isn't it? That's a nice snug fit. Might just even out the gap because it's a little bit tapered, but that's all right. And by the time I put two flanges on there, that'll be mint, isn't it? hold it good as. Right, I've just tacked that in place. Little bracket. I've just got to finish it off, round it all off and make it look pretty, but it actually fits pretty good and holds it tight as. It's only got a couple of tacks on underneath, but if I put the beltage on, it looks pretty good. Looks like it's running pretty true. That's 43 degrees there, and that's fucking as near as 40 to 43 degrees as well to the vertical. So it should be good in the hood, I think. So now I've got to take that bracket off and I can make some strengthening bits and bolt that all together proper. And then I can get some flanges made for this, and then I can make the rear bracket. Then we'll be somewhere there, innit? So after some cooking about, I've got a bracket. I've just got to clean it up and round it off and make it a little bit better than that. And then it can be powder coated one day. And I've just got another belt, which is 90 centimetres shorter than the one I had. And I've made some templates of the flanges. See if my mate up the road can cut them out with his plasma cutter machine thingy. But other than that, I might just chuck this belt on, see how that fits, isn't it? Well, fuck me, look at that. Did me look half bad. I've still got to get that perfectly in line, but it's pretty good. Got a bit of wiggleability from the back. Bit of notch.